Welcome back to another video, guys. My name is Chief Pat, and today, bringing you guys the first episode of my brand new trophy pushing series. So it's been a while since I trophy pushed on this account, all the way up to 4,640 trophies, but I'm excited that Town Hall 11's out, and no better way to try out all the new stuff by trophy pushing and hopefully making our way all the way up to the Legend League. Now, if you take a look at the top 200 right now, you can actually see that every single person inside of the top 200 is now inside of the Legend League. All of the trophy pushing changes they made for high level players is actually really good. It's starting to shake up the leaderboards just a little bit, so I definitely think it's possible for a player like me to hit 5,000 trophies and hopefully make my way there. You can see the bottom player is at 5,007 trophies for the top 200, so I think I have pretty good odds, and let's go ahead and start it off with everyone's favorite army composition right now. So I'm going to be using 3 golems, 8 witches, 7 wall breakers, and 10 wizards. I've been running into a lot of bases like this, and pretty much what I try to do is use wall breakers on at least one side of the base, which I did on the bottom right here. And then on the other side, I use a jump spell with 2 jump spells to go into the core. So most of my troops are just going down on the bottom for this base. I sort of just gave up on the right-hand side and more or less just started moving some of my troops over. Looks like we have a pretty good section so far, and my Grand Warden is covering up almost all of my most valuable troops. All right, so Giant Bomb right there took care of one of my wizards, and maybe even 2 of my wizards, but I thought there would probably be a better use for my Eternal Tome, so I decided to wait before I activated that ability. King's already in the center of the base. Free spell is going to drop on all of those troops, as well as a couple of those buildings. So far, so good, as my Queen and the Warden are making a nice kill squad on the right-hand side. So we're at 36% right now. My king honestly has lived longer than I thought he would. He actually dropped health pretty quickly before going down right there. And as my Eternal Tome goes down to protect some of the troops on the right-hand side, we're already having a nice split attack from both the left and the right-hand side. Because if you look, I have a couple of golems on the bottom left-hand side, and those are working out with the witches and the wizards that are there. And then on the top right-hand side, I have like 4 witches, I have my Grand Warden, my Queen. That's going to be an absolutely unstoppable force and makes it really easy for me to get my way throughout the base. So as long as both sides of the base are doing plenty of damage, and then of course I still have plenty of troops inside of the core to take care of the town hall and the rest of the defenses, usually if it works out like this, you're almost guaranteed to get 3 stars against a lot of these bases. It's pretty funny because a lot of people's bases that they have designed right now are pretty effective against Town Hall 10s, having these open base designs for people who don't know how to funnel their troops into the center of a base. But when you run into Town Hall 11, this type of base design no longer works under any scenario. So you're going to see people switching from this over the next couple of days and weeks. But until then, I'm going to try to take out as many as I can and 3-star all of them to get those trophies. So good little raid right here, was able to get 3 stars against Mark 13008. We're just going to have to see how many trophies we get from this one, because I've been actually finding some pretty decent trophy offers and I haven't hit a dead zone just yet. So 26 trophies for this 3-star raid, not too shabby. And yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next one and see if we can do the same exact thing against our next defender. Honestly, the witches feel really strong right now. I've talked about this in previous videos, but the witches paired up with the Grand Warden to give your skeletons that HP buff. If you don't have fully maxed out wizard towers and you're going against witches that have the Grand Warden's buff, it takes 2 shots for the wizard towers to take out the skeletons. And while that might not seem like a big deal, if you guys think about it, it's actually crazy. It makes it so the wizard tower obviously takes double as many shots to take care of those skeletons, and it means that they're never going to be able to reach your witches in the back line, and it makes those wizard towers almost completely ineffective. So you can see this guy still has level 8 wizard towers, and you'll see what I'm talking about as far as the skeletons go. As I drop my Grand Warden right now, I decided to attack from the very top as well as the left-hand side, and then I do have a couple of jump spells left to have some exit jump spells after I make my way through the core of the base. So first free spell went down right now. That one was on top of the king as well as one of the Inferno towers. Eagle artillery is going to be raining down on my defenses, but if you guys can tell, I'm not even paying attention to the Eagle artillery whatsoever. I know at ClashCon they tried to make it like we were going to be using kill squads and multiplayer attacks, and we'd have to worry about the Eagle artillery and worry about charging it up with all like the troops that you're dropping. But honestly, no one that I've known has really paid attention to the Eagle artillery. Everyone's just bursting their way through the base, and then they'll clean up the Eagle artillery towards the end of the attack, which is what I'm trying to do inside of this raid. So generally when you're looking at a raid like this, you just have to count how many witches and wizards you have left. You don't really need to pay attention to the golems, don't need to pay attention to your barbarian king. And you can see on the top right hand side, I still have about 6 of my 8 witches that I deployed. And seeing as I'm already at 70%, that bodes pretty well, unless I get unlucky with the giant bomb or something like that. But my troops have already made their way through, and I'm sitting at 77% as we make our way towards that eagle artillery. And you're going to notice inside of my army composition, I didn't drop that earthquake spell. And something I've been getting used to is scrolling to the right just one space, because my army composition, I can literally see everything that I've trained up, but there's just one extra spot for that earthquake spell. And I keep forgetting it. If you guys have been watching my live streams, I always forget that donated spell in the very beginning, but it didn't end up mattering for this base. And the very first Titan 3 defender that we saw, we ended up 3-starring for 35 trophies and a massive boost for us right there. So awesome stuff. Let's go ahead and check out one more attack. Looks like we're going against a pretty open base. This one's a little bit different, and this one's going to have a little tip for you guys if you want to make sure your witches stay in one place and don't go all over the base, because if my witches went to the left and the right hand side of this base, that would actually be pretty bad because they would get shot down by some of the defenses. So what I did is I dropped a golem and 2 wizards on both sides to destroy some of the garbage buildings, and then a jump spell over this wall just so all of my witches stayed in the very center, and now they're going to go into the center of the base with no problem. So that worked out really well. That means all of my main troops are going to be around the Grand Warden. Everyone's just going to hang out together and get really strong with that rage spell. They're going to be affected by everything that I'm trying to do, and that way none of my troops try to be heroes and go off to either side. It looks like there's one wizard that's outside of that main compartment that I'm in right now, but that's really not too big of a deal. He's going to clean up some of those buildings for me so I don't have to worry about those later. And we've already made our way to the town hall, and seeing as he has a single targeted Inferno Tower, that's actually going to play out pretty well for me as I finally drop that earthquake spell on the town hall and the Inferno Tower. All right, so 56% so far. If you count up the witches, I still have about 6 witches left, maybe 5 after that one witch just died to that Tesla. Queen's on the right-hand side, which is a little bit unfortunate because she's not going to be protected by the Grand Warden and some of those skeletons up front. But so long as my troops stay inside of the Grand Warden, I think we should be okay just because that Inferno is set to multi-targeted. And yeah, Giant Bomb was able to take care of my wizards. That's a little bit of my firepower that went down, but like I've talked about previously, the Grand Warden actually does a fair amount of damage, especially at level 20. Honestly, looking at his damage per second, you wouldn't think so, but he actually does a pretty powerful punch, and he's going to start making his way through. Looks like the Giant Bomb's not going to be able to take care of enough skeletons, and if you look at the skeletons right now, as they get zapped by this wizard tower, if they're going to get close enough to it, you can see it doesn't kill them in one shot. It only brings them to about 5% HP, which is a big deal because it's going to make all of the defenses have to take that extra shot to take it out. So 96%, this base went down right here pretty easily, 100%, and that will do it for this raid for 17 trophies. Not too bad, and I definitely knew I could 3-star this base, which is why I attacked it, even though 17 trophies were only available. Usually I'm looking for about 20 to 25 trophies, but I would take those right there. And you can see I ended this episode at 4,097 trophies, only 3 away from Titan 3. And for some reason, it took away my league emblem. I don't know why it's done that. That's the second time that's done that so far, where randomly my league emblem disappears. I don't know if it's you take a defense, because I took a defense before the end of this, but who knows. But that's going to do it for the first episode of this new trophy pushing series. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm hoping to cruise my way up pretty quickly, so don't be surprised if I've gained a lot of trophies since this episode to the next one. If you guys are excited to see some more episodes and hopefully see my way up to legend, definitely drop a like and a comment below. Until episode 2, I will see you guys later. Peace out.